Michel, bonjour.
Bonjour,
How are you?
I'm good. You wanted to do it in French or in English?
No, English, I'm afraid. My French is very rusty.
Okay, no problem.
I was just being polite. Congratulations on the film. I think this is the first time that you ventured into animation.
Yeah.
And of course, it's based on the novella of the same name. So I wondered what made you feel that the book would make a good film?
Oh, the story. Yeah, it's not because when you have a great book, that doesn't mean it will make a good movie. Sometimes a good book is good because it's specifically a book. But when you have a good story, you can bring it to cinema. The story was very not easy, but adaptable for screen. I thought, but also there was this wonderful gesture that the author made, making it as a tale, and it looks very simple. It's a very humble and modest gesture, but in my opinion, it was a huge philosophical movement. What I mean is that when you in tales, the characters do not have names. They're always like the princess, the king, the witch, whatever, and but they do not have names, and the countries are not named neither. And so in the book, it was a tale. There was sometimes you could find the word Jews or Nazis, but I erased them from the movie. I keep them out of the movie, and it's I think it's very important. Why? Because it brings the story a universal level, a level of mankind. What I mean is, if you say it's a story between Jews and Germans, then as a Jew, you're a victim. As a German, you feel guilty. And if you're not either Jew or German, it's like it's not exactly my story. It's their story. But if you keep these words out of the story, you feel connected as a human being and you feel connected. You know that you can be the victim, you can be the killer. And but the thing, and this is where the story is wonderful and optimistic, it gives you the sense that you also can be a good person, a righteous, what we call the righteous among the nation. I mean, you can connect to all the character, but also to this one who made the choice of being a good person, a decent person. So that was very new for me. And this very simple thing, telling that story as a tale, brings really a lot for me. And I thought it could make a good movie also for that reason.
So why did you decide that it had to be animation, which is new for you as well? Did you ever consider making it as a live action film?
No, not really. I have to say that when they sent me the book, it was already a question of making an animation movie. So it was not my decision by myself, blah, blah, blah. But I have to say, I would never have done it with actors. I feel really, I would feel very uncomfortable asking to actors to pretend they are in a train for Auschwitz. I have a problem with the out of frame. What I mean is, we all know that actors are pretending something, but there is something that we call the suspension of incredulity that makes you, as an audience, ready to believe that Brad Pitt is not an actor but a spy or whatever. And so you're ready to believe. But with that topic specifically, it's not that easy because there's something maybe there is a moral problem with that topic. We're not really ready to believe the actors. So So animation was very good for that because animation do not pretend. Animation is just an evocation. It's a suggestion. There's no out of frame with that. When I mean out of frame, I mean when you see an actor pretending he's a trained for Auschwitz, you know that he's not cold and you know that he's not hungry. You know that there is some chocolate bears and water out of frame. You know everything. You know there's a crew. And that's embarrassing in a way. That's uncomfortable. There's not that problem with drawings. And also in France, we say that this story is indicible, that is unexpressible. You can't tell that story. But if you want to tell a story on this topic, you can't tell the entire truth because that would be unbearable. But you can say like a light version of it. That would be a lie. So the only path is suggestion, an evocation of it, how to make bearable the unbearable. And for that suggestion, animation was the right tool for me.
So you've, with the film and the animation style that you've used, it's hand-drawn animation. Were there any other styles of animation that influenced you when you were making the film? And did you actually get involved in any of the drawings yourself?
Yeah, of course, I draw since I was 10. And in my other movie, I storyboard all my movies. So yeah, at the very beginning, it was a little bit violent because I draw, but I never needed to show my drawings. I never wanted to make an exhibition or whatever. It was just for myself. So at the beginning, it was a little bit violent to do coming out to, okay, I'm drawing. But then after that, I felt comfortable and it was okay. And so I did all the characters, the human beings. And so I drew the characters, and then we worked with the other artists, the animators, and all the drawers that are participating to the animation process. And
I'm
no, I never. When you mean another style of animation, you mean like 3D or something?
No, I was thinking maybe sort of Japanese animation,
Oh,
because certainly with all the sort of black outlines, it made me think of that.
yeah, but it doesn't come. I mean, in a way, it comes from that, but in a twisted path. When I read the book, even like if the story existed before the author wrote it, if you see what I mean, like a
Yeah,
classical
yeah.
story, a timeless story. And I wanted to keep that flavor in the movie. So what I did, I went to the French painting of the 19th century. That was the first source of inspiration. But you can't animate this. And then I went to see an exhibition of Hiroshige, who was a Japanese painter, and with these engravings and stamps. And there is these black lines like this. And that's where it comes from. It's the mix between Japanese engravings and the French and Russian paintings of the 19th century.
I'm surprised you've never done animation before, given that you obviously draw so much yourself.
Yeah, but it's really fun to work with actors. So there's a very special energy on a live action set
Yeah.
that you don't really find in the animation process. But it's wonderful for other aspects, and especially that the field of narration is a little bit larger in animation than in you can allow yourself it's freeing in a way. You can allow yourself a lot of things that you wouldn't do in live action movies, but the process is more you're more there's more loneliness, and it's not the same energy.
As well as the animation, the sound in the film really struck me. I mean, particularly in the opening sequence, certainly the animation there is beautiful with the snow falling from the sky. It's really delicate, but it was the way you captured that sort of soft, almost crunching noise when the woodcutter's wife falls into the snow, and it's so subtle you almost miss it. But I wondered how you created such a soft sound.
I worked with a wonderful sound designer. His name is Selim Azazi. He's working on Inarritu's movie now. But I work with him since, I don't know, more, maybe 12 years or something. And for this sound, the sound of the steps in the snow, it was a long process. We did a cast because when you hear some sound of snow, there's many sounds, but some of them are more evocative than the other, and so we chose the right ones, and sound is very important. People. Usually forget it. But this is the only, in the entire process, this is the only part where there is some real life. When you see the woodcutter walking on the snow, there's nothing real in the image. Everything has been created by people's hands. But the sound, sorry, someone really walked on the snow, and the wind really blew in the trees, and a real baby laughed one day, and the sound brings really life to animation. And I'm happy you noticed it, because I think Selim and we did very precise and very work on sound. On the sound of the train, for example, it was a very long process, because the train is a real character, is the antagonist of the movie. And so there's an evolution of all this sound, all the sound of the train. And yeah, it's a very important part of the narration.
The other side of it, though, is the way that you use silence in the film, because there isn't an awful lot of dialogue. And of course, we associate silence with you because of the artist anyway, because that was a silent movie. But here, what you've done is to give us the most emotional moments of the film, and they're in silence, particularly when, say, for the baby is thrown out of the train. You see the mother scream, but you never hear it.
Yeah.
And I wondered why you went for using silence, because if you're just relying on the audience to imagine it, then everybody hears it in a different way.
Yeah, that's exactly this. And it's a different way for each viewer, but each viewer will create what fits, what match the best with his own mind. If you give to the mother the sound of the shout, uh, it will be the same shout for everyone. And you impose something. But if you don't give it, people will feel the emptiness with their own sensibility. And for this kind of event, which is really cruel and really, it could be melodramatic. And so the thing is how to create a distance with what you show, and how to be at the right distance. And for me, and it was from the very beginning, it's not something that we did when we mixed the movie for the sound mixing. From the very beginning, it was a silent sequence uh, to create a distance, and trying not to be too melodramatic, or it was putting a filter between the audience and what we were watching. And also it's for me, I mean, for that reason, that people will feel the emptiness. Um, Silence is the the best way to express deep feelings for me. And it's exactly in the real life. In the real life, you don't say important things with words. You say it with your eyes, with your gestures, with your pacing, with your body language, with your silence, with the time you take for people. But you don't say just, Mom, I love you. And this is not how you say to your mom that you love her. You So for me, silence is way more powerful. And in cinema, silence has a wonderful virtue. This is what we just talked about. The audience put a lot of themselves in silence. So in a way, it brings the movie closer to each of us because we put a lot of ourselves. And also, I mean, there's another reason, very pragmatic, not for that sequence, but for the entire movie. I mean, the characters, the main characters are woodcutters. They live in a deep forest. They don't have any books. They are not people of the words, of the verb. They are silent. The deported father, he doesn't speak. He can't speak. The baby is a baby. So they're not too, they don't talk that much. These people don't talk too much.
Michel, it's been lovely to talk to you and to get all those insights into the making of the film. Really appreciate your time. So, merci beaucoup.
Merci.